anti-hopping bill tabling sooner than later. Remembering our everyday heroes, firefighter. North Korea's ballistic missile launch unacceptable. Those are the headlines for tonight. I'm Cheryl Shaminato, and this is TVS Nightline. The tabling of the proposed anti-party hopping bill in the Dewan Rakyat will be moved at a later date to be determined by the Prime Minister. In disclosing this, however, Minister in the Prime Minister's Department of Parliament and Law, Dr. Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar, is hoping that the tabling will be held sooner rather than later to prevent instances of party hopping by representatives in the lead up to the 15th general election.
Jadi saya cukup yakin kita boleh menyelesaikan apa masalah dahulunya. Hanya yang tinggal ialah apabila siap kajian itu nanti terpulang kepada Perdana Menteri yang mungkin perlu pada keputusan kabinet bila rang undang-undang itu boleh dihutangkan di Dewan Rakyat. Kerana ada juga mencadangkan, tunggulah bulan Julai. Tetapi ada mengatakan supaya mengikut janji yang telah dibuat, Perdana Menteri yang buat keputusan satu tarikh tertentu diadakan satu majlis persidangan khas di bawah Peraturan 11/3. Peraturan Dewan Rakyat diadakan majlis khas dan kita boleh mengadakan persidangan. Itu biarlah saya serah kepada Perdana Menteri.
Wan Junaidi said this to reporters after a luncheon with community in Kuching on Wednesday. The Sanjobong MP, who heads a special select committee on the bill, is confident with the capability of the select committee, which comprises of law experts. Meanwhile, Wan Junaidi said the ouster clauses are a clause that sets aside the court's power to review certain decisions by the executive will be reviewed in detail. This comes as the federal court ruled on April 25 that ouster clauses were unconstitutional and can be challenged in court.
Hampir 60 ouster clause dalam 60 undang-undang Malaysia yang punya ouster clause berkemungkinan boleh dicabar di mahkamah. Maknanya tidak kuasa itu adalah tidak absolut, kuasa itu tidak mutlak kepada pihak kerajaan. Contohnya kalau satu undang-undang mengatakan keputusan yang dibuat oleh satu jatuh kuasa tidak boleh dicabar di mahkamah. Ini boleh dicabar di mahkamah sekarang. Bawah keputusan Mahkamah Persekutuan pada 25 bulan.
International Firefighters Day is celebrated every year on May 4 to honor the work of firefighting professionals. The day aims to recognize and honor the sacrifices made by professional firefighters around the world who make sure that our community and environment are safe. Sarawak Fire and Rescue Department Director Datuk Kirudin Rahman said, undoubtedly the tasks carried out by firefighters have become more arduous with the rapid growth of the population in the state, as well as of accidents and disasters.
Following the relaxations of SOPs, many firefighters are out there working and sanitizing public places to keep everyone healthy and safe. Therefore, they would appreciate it as much if the community abides with the order.
Walaupun kita dah masuk fasa endemik dan tugas Jabatan Bomba dan juga penglibatan kita dalam menghadapi semasa era pandemik dalam SOP kita, dalam tindakan kita menghadapi apa juga kecemasan yang melibatkan isu COVID ni masih dalam tahap yang samalah. Cuma dalam segi fasa endemik ini banyak kelonggaran-kelonggaran yang telah diberi kepada komuniti pertama kali untuk meraihkan perayaan dan untuk merasakan rasa bebas
As difficult as it might be, each and every firefighter must meet the challenges faced, especially here in Sarawak, being the largest state in terms of land size and with challenging conditions. Kieran also noted that as frontliners, firefighters have multiple jobs. They're there when fire breaks out, lead the search and rescue mission, remove beehives at properties, accidents, and hunt a crocodile that has mauled a human being. As a tribute to all firefighters, a simple gesture of kindness, like letting them know that they matter through a word of thanks and saying a prayer for their well-being, is sometimes all it takes to brighten their day.
Dan sebenar Hari Bomba hari inilah kami kesempatan mengucapkan terima kasih kepada kerajaan, kepada kepimpinan kerajaan negeri dalam memberi perhatian pertama kali kepada anggota bomba, pasukan bomba, pertama kali dari segi penghargaan. Ucapan terima kasih daripada komuniti, kepimpinan negeri dan juga masyarakat. Dan begitu juga NGO yang telah berkolaborasi dengan Jabatan Bomba. Kata-kata semangat yang telah dicurahkan mereka dan juga ucap terima kasih banyak membantu memotivasikan pertama kali anggota bomba dalam memberi pemerintahan yang terbaik luar daripada ekspektasi masyarakat.
In other matters, North Korea launched a ballistic missile towards the sea off its east coast on Wednesday. The launch was also the 14th weapon test conducted by the secretive nation and comes days before South Korea's newly elected president takes office on May 10, much to the condemnation of its neighboring country, Japan. Japan's defense ministry said that the launch comes as the international community responds to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and that is absolutely unacceptable.
昨今の北朝鮮による核・ミサイル関連技術の著しい発展は、我が国及び地域の安全保障にとって看過できないだけでなく、これまでの弾道ミサイル等の度重なる発射も含め、一連の北朝鮮の行動は、我が国、地域及び国際社会の平和と安全を脅かすものであり、断じて容認できません。
Japan's defense ministry estimated the missile's range at 500 kilometers, with a maximum altitude at 800 kilometers. However, they have yet to determine the type of missile it was. Last week, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un pledged to develop its nuclear forces at the fastest possible speed as denuclearization talks with the United States remained stalled. A public specialist has made recommendations on the administration of the second booster dose for those with comorbidities and senior citizens in Sarawak. Although Sarawak has a plan to use the antiviral drugs to treat COVID-19, the booster shot should not be dismissed, as it can increase individuals' immunity level to fight the disease.
The second booster are meant for those who are vulnerable, those above 60 or 65, depending on the countries and so on, and that they have comorbidities and so on. So if we look at that, then the number of severe cases should reduce, because if they have the second booster, then their vulnerability will be less, okay? And by that, we should reduce the number of severe cases and ultimately death. And there is what we call the case fatality rate. Out of 100 persons who get COVID, how many will die? At the moment, the figure for Malaysia is 1%. That means out of 100 people who get it, 1% will die. Okay? So it's just the nature of the disease. So the more we reduce the number of infection and the number of people who are vulnerable with comorbidities, we will reduce the number of deaths.
Dr. Andrews said that the brought-in dead BID rate in Sarawak may stem from two variables. Among them are residents who do not have direct access to health facilities, especially in remote areas. And secondly, residents who have access to health facilities but practicing happy hypoxemia.
At the moment, it looks like for Sarawak for this year, I'm talking just about this year, depending on which day and week we're talking about, it looks like probably 30 to 50% are brought in dead, the deaths. And I think if we look at two broad reasons for this, one is that they don't have easy access to healthcare. So those who are in remote places and so on, they may not come in time to the clinics. The second one is even those who have access might not come in time because of this phenomenon that we call happy hypoxia. Hypoxia means that you don't have enough oxygen in your body, but somehow the brain don't recognize it.
Sarawak has recorded a total of 1.5 million, equivalent to only 55% of its population that has received the COVID-19 booster dose.
The use of an antiviral COVID-19 drug may reduce the death rate. However, prior to prescribing it to individuals, it needs to undergo thorough clinical study. A public health expert, Professor Dr. Andrew Q, said prescription should be administered to individuals who experience symptoms as early as 3 to 5 days of being infected with the virus.
From the briefings that were given by Pfizer, for instance, if you give the Paxlovid properly to the proper person, because there are indications for its use, it can reduce severe disease and hospitalization by about 88%. So that's effective, okay? And in Malaysia, it is going to be used for adults age 18 and above, and your body weight must be at least 40 kilos. And it's going to be given to people who do not require oxygen, but the catch must be given as soon as possible, preferably within 3 days of getting symptoms, and at most 5 days.
However, there is no denial that there will be some side effects of taking the antiviral drug. Among the possible side effects that can occur are allergies, liver problems, and allergies to other drugs to control heart conditions.
And as usual with every medicine, there are side effects, even with common ones, like we take for flu and for fever, always have side effects. But for Paxlovid, the side effects are, it can cause allergic reaction, there are liver problems, it can interact with many medicines, especially medicines that are used to control heart conditions and hypertension and so on. So the choice of patient to be given this medicine is quite critical. Okay? We cannot give it to everybody.
Recently, the Minister of Public Health, Housing and Local Government, that is Sri Dr. Sim Kui Hian, revealed that Sarawak has used the antiviral COVID-19 drug to treat individuals infected with COVID-19. As a result, the mortality rate in Sarawak decreased and the intensive care unit or ICU rooms are no longer crowded. The Dual Language Program, or DLP, allows students to gain access to various fields of knowledge in order to remain competitive in the global stage. The initiative, which was introduced in 2020, allows participants the opportunity to improve their English language competencies.
Untuk program DLP ini, terutamanya DLP Sarawak, ia dilaksanakan di Sarawak sahaja untuk DLP Sarawak. Jadi saya amat berbanggalah kerana negeri kita merupakan negeri yang pertama yang menyahut cabaran DLP. Jadi ia dilaksanakan kepada 1048 buah sekolah rendah SK di Sarawak. Manakala untuk SJKC mereka diberikan pengecualian ya. Apabila mereka berminat untuk melaksanakan DLP, mereka boleh memohon kepada JPNS, Jabatan Pendidikan Negeri Sarawak sendiri.
Kohlberg pointed out among the three objectives of the program is to enhance the use of Malay and English languages in line with the state government's aspiration in achieving a high-income status by 2030. The cooperation of all parties is crucial, especially parents who play a role in improving their children's English proficiency.
Kerajaan Sarawak sendiri macam mewajibkan semua guru yang mengajar DLP ini untuk mengajar dalam bahasa Inggeris sepenuhnya. Jadi, apabila murid tidak faham, guru itu sendiri perlu mengambil inisiatif untuk macam memudahkanlah pembelajaran murid menggunakan level bahasa yang rendah, aras bahasa yang rendah, supaya murid dapat catch up.
However, the teachers have been preparing since September 2019, in addition to increasing the professionalism of teachers in the effort of teaching DLP. Favin said so when interviewed during the Sejahtera Asia program on Wednesday morning.
A car that was recently reported missing was found by the Padawan District Police at a farm in Jalan Stephen Yong, Kuching on Tuesday. Padawan District Police Chief Superintendent Abang Zainal Abidin Abang Ahmad said they received a distress call from a member of the public informing them of an abandoned vehicle.
The Padawan Police Mobile Patrol Vehicle MPV unit personnel who were sent to the scene discovered that the silver-colored sedan car was believed to be using a fake license plate number. Checks on the vehicle's chassis number, however, confirmed that it was reported missing at Sakama Police Station. Meanwhile, the police appealed to the public to immediately inform the police if they discovered or come across any suspicious activities in their areas.
Coming up right after the break, Cheng Wei visits Prime Minister for Hari Raya. China remains Myanmar's biggest export market. Right here on TVS Nightline. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Nightline. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob received a visit from badminton icon Datuk Lee Chong Wei in conjunction with the Hari Raya celebrations. In a Facebook post on Wednesday, May 4, Ismail Sabri posted a picture of himself with Lee and his family during their visit. Every year during Raya, Chong Wei and his family will visit the Prime Minister. He said that they have been close since Ismail Sabri was the Youth and Sports Minister in 2008. Ismail Sabri also thanked the badminton icon for his efforts in uplifting Malaysia on the international stage. Meanwhile, Chong Wei also apologized for not wearing traditional Malay attire on Tuesday, May 3, saying that they were unable to prepare due to the surprise Hari Raya announcement. And China remained the largest export country for Myanmar between October last year and March this year. This was according to the Ministry of Commerce on Wednesday. According to the ministry's figures, Myanmar's export to China during the period amounted to over $1.98 billion and accounted for almost 24% of the country's total export. China also stood first among Myanmar's export countries in both the 2020 to 2021 fiscal year and the 2019 to 2020 fiscal year. During the 2020 to 2021 fiscal year, Myanmar exported goods worth more than $5.17 billion to China, which accounted for over 33.7% of the country's total export. In the 2019 to 2020 fiscal year, Myanmar's export to China was valued at over $5.42 billion and accounted for over 30.6% of the country's total export. Senior Education Minister Dr. Razzie Jidin has assured that teachers appointed in June 2020 on a contract basis and whose contract is expiring this June will be given due attention and to be resolved immediately. In his Facebook post today, Razzie said that the matter related to the teacher's concern about the expiring contract of service was raised in a comment section on his social media accounts recently and drew his attention, adding that the Ministry of Education and Education Service Commission are taking appropriate action in accordance with the existing rules and procedures. According to Razzie, an announcement on the matter would be made once the process was completed. He added that the MOE was concerned about the issues raised by the community about education and was committed to doing the best for the well-being of the education of the country's future generation. Malaysia's 6 largest banking groups by assets are well positioned to face competition from innovative digital banks following the announcement of 5 new digital entrants announced by Bank Negara Malaysia (BNM). According to Moody's Investors Service, the new entrants would increase deposit competition in the consumer and small business segments. The 6 banking groups are Malayan Bank Berhad, CIMB Bank Berhad, Public Bank Berhad, RHB Bank Berhad, Hong Leong Bank Berhad, and AMMB Holdings Berhad, the holding company for AmBank M. Berhad. The financial service group said the 6 largest banks will be able to fend off the competition due to their entrenched franchises and ongoing digital enhancements that will increase customer stickiness. It said they also benefit from the government's efforts to promote payment efficiency and interoperability, which includes the implementation of Do It Now and Do It Now Quick Response QR Code, the country's real-time retail payment system, and standardized QR code, respectively. It said new entrants may take between 12 and 24 months to set up and pass an audit conducted by BNM before starting operations. However, small incumbents will face greater competition from both the new entrants and the larger banks, and due to their limited resources, they will remain burdened by their legacy technology infrastructure. It added that Malaysia now joins other Southeast Asian countries, including Singapore, the Philippines, and Indonesia, that have introduced digital banks into their banking systems. In Qatar, people gathered to enjoy fireworks and a festive atmosphere during the Eid Festival, a 3-day event organized by the government in Qatar's Doha. That includes a range of family-friendly activities such as live music and parades. Ahmad Chowki, an Egyptian living in Qatar for 11 years, said that over the past 2 years, coronavirus restrictions had kept the country closed a bit. The Arabian Peninsula eased COVID-19 restrictions early in April after a decrease in coronavirus cases. These recent changes eased Ali Harb's fears that restrictions could have had an impact on the organization of the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022. The Lebanese, who has lived in Qatar for 10 years, said that he had been looking forward to the football competition for years. The Gulf state will host the first World Cup in the Middle East, the first in a Muslim state, and no other tournament has ever been held in the Northern Hemisphere winter. Qatar, which is roughly the size of Jamaica, is also the smallest state to have held soccer's biggest event, with fans from the 32 competing nations set to watch games at 8 stadiums, clustered around the only major city in Doha. And that feature concludes TVS Nightline for tonight. Here with me, Shalsha Merto, and I'll see you next time. Have a good day.